Hello, you're watching France 24. It's 8 a.m. here in Paris.
Belle's here, our culture expert.
Also coming up on the programme,
Right, I want you to picture a scene. Imagine your Saturday night in the off-licence.
one for the daredevils among you now. Hope you've got a head for heights. I'm Belle Lupton. Now let's remind you of the story we're covering in depth here on France 24. Sharif, thank you very much for that latest update on the black box being discovered from Egypt Air Flight 804. Now, to some news that's just happened in the last few moments. A British Member of Parliament has been shot and stabbed in the north of England. Jo Cox is a Labour MP. She's in critical condition after the attack, which happened near the city of Leeds. Details are still emerging, but for more on this, let's go to our correspondent, Bénédicte Paviot, who's in London. Now, when the British wake up tomorrow, the polls will be open in a referendum on their EU membership. The last 24 hours of campaigning have been frenzied, with each side trying to entice last-minute swing voters to their camps. Well, the first thing to let you know is that overnight on Sunday, the anonymous hacker group came forward online and posted a video in which they declared all-out war on the Islamic State organisation in response to the attacks in Paris over the weekend. And what he said is that these two brothers, Sharif and Saeed Kouachi, are very much the two suspects now in this case. They are being hunted. Hello and welcome to Inside the Americas, a special programme this week dedicated to the terrorist attack on a gay nightclub that left 49 people dead in Orlando, Florida, the deadliest mass shooting the US has seen. Most of the victims have now been identified. So you're really getting an idea of the crowd swelling. Now, obviously, some of those are people who are still on their summer holidays walking past and wanting to have a look. But there are lots of Syrians in the crowds here. We've seen free Syrian flags flying. That was Adam Pletz in Cairo for us. And just to take you back to that story that we brought to you just a few minutes ago before we spoke to Adam, the sound of gunshots near the White House. That, of course, coming to us from the Washington Post initially. We don't have very much information, but we can speak to our correspondent in Washington, Philip Crowther. He's on the phone.
Have negotiation,
so
negotiation.
This is what you're saying, that if essentially what you want is a suspension of Parliament, you want the whole law to be rewritten before there will be any discussion. Now, the government has already shifted rather a lot on this bill. Wouldn't it be time for you also to come and meet them? They seem to be doing all the moving. When is the CGT going to come towards them?
No, the government accepts to move a little bit his labour law, a little bit.
But that's still more than the CGT.
No.
I think this is the difficulty with art and the market of art, because there's different ways of approaching art. You're either trying to push boundaries artistically, do something that's really exciting, in which case, to be honest, it's probably not the type of thing you want to have above your bed at night, because it's probably going to be difficult to live with.
Strange and Familiar, that's the title of this exhibition. Strange because all the images here are taken by foreign photographers. This is Britain seen through the stranger's eye.
But for those who know the country, there's also something familiar in some of these images.
The Cannes Film Festival is over. A week of screenings, meetings and, of course, parties is finishing with the biggest celebrations of all in the south of France right now. The winners of this year's 69th edition were announced just a few hours ago.
There's no doubt the show is about the internet and the dangers of the virtual world. But Wonder.land isn't entirely critical of digital technology. In fact, it says it can do some pretty amazing things. And it's important to remember that in a world where teenagers Ali's age use their mobile phones for just about everything.
And I guess we should explain that that way of wearing a scarf, although it's done in Muslim countries, also is done by women of a certain age.
That's right.
In the UK, certainly.
That's right. If it's light bit of drizzle, out walking the dog, you're just going to put a headscarf on.
Absolutely. James Creedon with Media Watch. Thank you very much for that.
Mosul, which will be probably the next battle.
Well, on that, the US-led coalition would have preferred to start with Mosul. Why do you think that decision was taken by the Iraqi army to go into Fallujah first?
Because it was a threat.
Belle, back to you.
Marcus, thank you very much. Marcus Carlson there with The Business. And crossing over to James Creedon, who's here for Media Watch.
Hi, Belle.
Hi there, James. And we're starting with the weather. How very British. And some news just in on that discovery of in the Mediterranean of wreckage of the Egypt Air Flight 804. Egyptian investigators saying they found one of the plane's crucial black boxes. They're saying they found a voice recorder. They've been removing it in stages as it's said to be damaged. Big hopes, of course, pinned to that black box, hoping that it will shed light on what happened in the plane's final moments. We'll be bringing you more on that and plenty more news when I return in 15 minutes. Do stay with us.